What's going on, YouTube? And you know what's funny? Welcome to Wealth Wednesday. The revolution begins. What's funny? Can't get on IG. They know what's coming. They know the heat's coming today. How's everybody doing? Can't start my live on IG. Oh boy, that's okay. We don't really need Instagram for what we're about to do next anyway. But we're trying to think, so we're gonna keep trying. Start. We'll try one more time. We'll see what's up. But if they don't come through, that's fine. What we're going to talk about today is going to be amazing regardless of whether or not we get on IG or not. So tonight's topic is going to be the revolution, and it starts with you. So before we get started, let me pull up my shared screen real quick. How's everyone doing today, by the way? Hope you guys are doing well. It's been an amazing week. I cannot complain at all. A lot of amazing things have been happening this week. So, it's only right that this is the type of stuff that happens. All right, let's share this real quick. Boom. I'll blow myself up a little bit. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, y'all. So I've been doing some research, but the first thing I want to show you is our website. So We Are the Way, nonprofit out of New York City. We are here to provide philanthropy, relationships, and wealth creation. That's what we're here to do. Let me see if my Wi-Fi needs to be on for that. Let's try that again. So maybe that's what was holding it back. Who knows? Instagram, what's up? You guys are late to the party. Been trying to connect for the last 5 minutes. Maybe they knew the revolution was happening today too and wanted to slow that down. So thank you for joining me. It's good to see you guys. Let's get into it. If you're on our YouTube stream, we're already on there right now. Just showing you a little bit about the way. So what am I going to talk about today, right? You guys are itching. So I'm going to start off this conversation today, and I can put this down because I know the mic's working perfectly here. So let's do that. Let's start off this conversation with last week. So for all those who joined us last week, we were discussing, some pretty cool subjects last week, just because, again, the purpose of, what I do is to provide some level of positive engagement, with the folks who are part of the Way Tribe. It's important to continue to be, hey, Auntie, what's up? It's important to be that person where you're providing, not just the problems, but the solutions, right? But today's conversation is going to be a little different. Today, I kind of want to talk about the next revolution, and we're going to talk about that and what that means. So last week, I realized that this is Black History Month. There's a lot of stats and topics about us that are in the market right now, whether it be about Black inventors, whether it be about, previous villages that were burnt down or put under lakes and things of that nature. Just talking about the history of Black people in America. But let me pose a question to you, right? Since we were the first group to inhabit this planet, right? Why do we need a month for that? Just asking a question. And the question I posed to folks last week was, before the 1100s, right? What was your belief system? What did you believe in? What were you doing back then as a people, right? And this goes for anybody that's listening to this live. It's not just for melanated folks, but anybody. I don't care where you're from, So if you go back to the 1100s, that was, again, a time frame where a lot of literature was coming out for many different things, because, again, power was condensed into one specific area, and therefore it was easy for folks to control history and to control the actual course of people in society. So I want you to go back a little bit further. And before we do, this conversation is going to be about the next revolution. So the next revolution starts with you. What does that mean? It means that until we change who we think we are, nothing's going to ever come around that's supposed to happen the right way. This is a very important time in our history where we get to make changes that are going to actually bring about the next generation of thinkers, of doers, of leaders, and all of the things that we do today will set up and prepare them for what's coming next, right? The Bible talks about it. If you're Christian, you'll know that the second coming of Christ is what the Bible references is going to happen next. which is, the angels will be in the clouds, and you're going to see Christ coming from on high in a chariot, and all the angels are with him, and he's going to have the final battle with the devil, and then boom, we'll get into the New Jerusalem, and boom, everything is perfect, right? Okay. That is what's supposed to happen next. That's what's supposed to be ushering in, right? According to the Christian belief system. Now, where did that come from? Where did that history come from? It came from the Bible. Most of us that follow Christianity have followed the Bible, and it speaks about that in Revelations. Where was that written, though? We're going to go into some history here because I want you guys to know that the next revolution starts with not just you, but what you actually know. So if you're on my YouTube screen, I want you to look up something on your phones. And if you're on YouTube, you don't have to worry about it because I'm going to look it up for you. So let's go to Google. And I'm going to look up something, and I want you guys to follow me with this, right? I'm going somewhere here. Cave of the Apocalypse. I want you to look that up. Google that. Cave of the Apocalypse. Okay? And when you Google that, you're going to see images pop up for the Cave of the Apocalypse. I'm going to make my screen a little bigger so you guys can see what I'm sharing here. So if you guys are just joining us, hey Tandy, what's up? If you're joining us, click over to the link in my bio. You'll see our YouTube channel and you'll be able to see my screen that I'm sharing. So when you look at the Cave of Apocalypse, it's located on an island called Patmos, right? We just talked about the Christian philosophy of Christ's second coming. Okay. That Revelation, the book of Revelations, was actually written in this cave. Okay. So I'm going to pull up the cave. Here is an image of the outside of the cave. Okay. And as you can see, it shows the writer of the book of Revelation, John, who wrote the book of Revelation, dictating the book to his scribe. Okay, his squire. Back then, he was very old and he wasn't able to write as well as he was. His old in age, was using a cane. So all those things were part of John's actual history, right? That's in the Bible. That's in historical reference. So he actually had his helper write the book of Revelation for him. He just dictated it to him. So it shows a picture here of the cave. And it shows a picture of John being dictating to his squire the book of Revelation, which talks about Jesus' second coming. Okay. Now, if you look a little harder into this cave and some of the drawings inside of the cave, you're going to see an image that I'm going to post up on this right now. So this was on the outside of the cave. So on the outside, you see John looking like this Greek man with a Greek beard. Okay. Now, let me show you what's on the inside of the cave. I'm going to pull this up real quick. I've saved this to my favorites, so it should be an easy find. Let's see. That's what's on the inside. So inside the cave, John is having a vision, and he's seeing the second coming of Jesus in his vision. And I don't know if you can see the hue of the individuals in that screenshot, but they look a little different than the guys in this one. So so if you're on my YouTube, you're going to see that the guys in this imagery do not look like that one. They actually look like a Greek man who happens to be writing all of this, right? Now, this is an actual island. This is an actual cave. This is an actual depiction. I'm going to pull up a picture from inside of the cave, and you can see, I'm going to zoom in here. Look at the YouTube. You guys are here. Look at my YouTube. I'm zooming in, and you can see every time I zoom in, they change the image. That's cute. They can't stop us from seeing this, but they change the image. Okay. I zoomed in, and you'll see the picture that I have up there is the same picture that's in here in this cave. Okay. And I wish I could show you guys. As a matter of fact, I think I can if I just take the phone off and do that. But look up Cave of the Apocalypse on your phone. And just look at the images, right? That's who wrote the book of Revelation. Gentleman that's laying down. That dark melanated gentleman there. Okay. Why am I bringing up this? Christians make up 31% of the actual population of religions on the planet, followed by Islam, which is 24%, followed by unaffiliated, followed by Hinduism, followed by Buddhism, okay? Christians make up a third of the entire demographic of the planet are Christians. They believe that a person that wrote the book of Revelation's name was John, and that he looked like a Greek man. Does the guy down there look Greek to you? No, he doesn't. And this is where the story gets interesting. Because if we're going to start talking about what we are and who we are and history and historical references and looking at, what we are, it starts with the things that we believe. It starts with what we fundamentally hold true to ourselves and to our nature. What do you think of as your purpose for being here? What do you follow? And who taught you to follow that? Was it someone that looked like you or someone that looked like someone else? I'll pose this question to you guys. Do you think that, and if you're Trinidadian, you can answer this. If you're not, just bear with me on this, right? A Trinidadian person knows good roti when they taste it, right? They know good curry chicken when they taste it because they're Trinidadian. They understand it. And chances are you're not going to get a very good roti from a corner Chinese store. Chances are. I mean, unless there's an Asian Trinidadian working up in that pat boy, you might not get the flavors right. Because again, that's not the dish that's natural to an Asian person, an Asian background person. That's not what it is. Similar to food, I would say your belief system is also in that same category where something's going to resonate with you because it just does, because it's a part of your genetics, it's a part of your history, it's a part of who you are. And in order for you to begin a revolution, you got to start with a revelation, right? So to have a revolution, you got to start with a revelation, an awareness, an awakening of something that you lost, right? An understanding of something that you knew to be true, but that no longer resembles your truth or your reality in this moment. Okay. So here's a revelation. Why do we accept other people's idea of what our history should be and not actually look into it ourselves? Why do we accept other people's idea of what organized religion is and not look into it for ourselves? Why do we look at the globe, look at the world, and look at all these different belief systems across the world and ask ourselves, before the 1100s, what did we believe? Who were we? What did we appreciate? How did we exist? What did our societies look like? There is a book written, and I've been reading this book for about a year now. And actually, last week was my 1 year of being on a fast. I've been on a fast for an entire year. And I did all this because I read a book. And the book that I read was actually a historical book. This is not a religion. I don't know if you've read this book before, y'all. But this is the first time that I'm putting this book up on our YouTube, on our Instagram, on everything, okay? This is called Black Root Science, right? And this book is actually a book of our history. It's a pretty thick book. It's not thin, right? And as you can see, it has a lot of Egyptian writings. That's King Tut on the front. So if you have not obtained this book yet, I would definitely recommend that you add this to your library because this book has been written. And I'll go back to why I'm bringing this up. So this book was written by a gentleman, well, by multiple authors, but they are griots. And a griot is a individual whose entire life is predicated on them learning their historical facts and truths of their tribe and passing those truths on to the next generation. That's their entire job. So as a griot, you're literally trained on memory exercises, how to remember everything that happens to you on a daily basis. Griots can actually pull back the memory from when they were in the womb. They can pull back memories from when they were 1 year old, 5 years old, 10 years old on recall instantly. So they have the ability to instantly recall anything that's happened in their entire life. That's how well developed their memory is, right? And these individuals are unique and they're trained into this position. In our antiquity, this is how we actually transferred knowledge. Because in our past, we didn't use books to transfer knowledge from one generation to another. We did not use, the internet or YouTube. That's not what we did. What we did was we had individuals literally teach this history to the children of the village and have them memorize this history so that whenever they were called upon, they would be able to tell us our truth no matter what. And it was actually a very safe practice because by having these griots be basically living Bibles, essentially, right? You protect your culture. You protect everything about you because it's embodied in a person. No one can go and hack this griot and say, hey, you're going to now tell me your truth about your religion. No, griots are not hackable. They're actual individuals. And they're actually the folks who taught the ancient Greeks all of their actual sciences in Alexandria, in Egypt. They came because remember, back then, Egypt was like what America is today. It's where everyone came to learn, to develop themselves, to civilize themselves, and to grow and to establish who they are based on the teachings of the ancient temples and the priests that were there. They were the ones that were teaching everyone about science, about mathematics, about astrology. All of these things are not concepts that are unique and new to ancient Africans. They knew this. And not only were they Africans, but they were indigenous of the entire planet. So my sister actually was the first person to actually tell me that Native Americans, going back, were actually not the way they look today. The way they look today is actually a mixed version of sorts of Native Americans. Back in the actual antiquity, they looked like you and me, right? They looked melanated. They had curly hair, and as they mixed in with the populations that came, the Spanish as well as the Europeans that came, they started to blend and mix as well, and their ethnicities somewhat got diluted a little bit. But you have historical references of folks living in Oklahoma who are native, and they are native Cherokee, and they look as black as me. I didn't even know that was a thing, right? Until my sister brought that up to me, like I think one random trip to Toronto. And I was like, what? You mean natives were black? What do you mean? So that means that we were indigenous of America? We were indigenous of Canada? We were indigenous of South America? Like we were just indigenous of the planet? Turns out the griots knew that. They knew that. They wrote that in here. So tell me how a griot from Setswana, which is a tribe in South Africa, would know about that, having not left there, right? Unless he had access to knowledge that was before his time. So for me, this is why I'm going to get back to this principle of whenever there is a historical reference, you have to ask yourself 3 questions. 1, who is the reference written by, right? 1. 2, who was in power at the time that the reference was written? 2. And 3, what was the purpose of the reference? Was it designed to actually inform or to articulate a different point of view? Okay, 3 things. The reason why I want you to reference those 3 things is because all of the historical facts that we've gotten has been acquired through conquering, right? When Egypt was conquered by Rome, they literally burnt down all of the books that they didn't keep. So anyone that had books and knowledge of wisdom and understanding, they would take the books, they would keep the best ones, read it for themselves, and burn everything else, right? That's what they did. During that time, there was a tribe of these griots that ran away from Egypt during this time because they had the foresight to know that if they didn't leave at that time, their knowledge of our actual true history would be burned, captured, or rewritten in a different light. And one thing that the Black Root Science book does talk about is the fact that every time our knowledge and of who we are comes out, someone decides to take it and manipulate it, and it turns itself into, who guesses, a religion. Okay. So my father has a saying where he says that the truth of every organized religion intersects at one point where they all match. So like if you take all the organized religions and line them up one on the other, right? Whatever is the same similarity parts of it is usually going to be closer to the truth than any one of them individually by themselves, right? Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of what I've learned from not only reading Black Root Science, but just from my own individual research. So there is an individual by the name of, and I'm going to give you this name. His name, well, first of all, I'll give this individual's name. The word Messiah, right? I want us to break that down real quick because I'm going to go talk about 3 of them, right? Talk about 3 Messiahs right now. And the reason why I want us to have a revelation before we can have a revolution is because you need to relearn what you think you know. And that's not to say that I have relearned what I think I know. I'm just trying to learn what is here and available for me to learn. And I think that we all need to take this whole idea of I don't need to learn for myself. I need to let someone else tell me what my truth is. We have to stop that. Because when folks tell you what your truth is, they're going to be the ones that control the next move that you make. So if someone told you when you were in college, you're not going to amount to anything, don't even take this class. They're telling you their truth. And if you believe it, then you'll fail and drop out of college, and then you'll be, an ungraduated individual trying to make a living without having a degree. That's what happens when you accept somebody else's truth about you and your life and your calling. I'm suggesting that you say, I don't care what anyone else's truth is. I'm going to accept only my truth. If I say that I'm going to graduate with a master's degree while working full time, and that's my truth, then that's what I'm going to do. I don't care what anyone else believes. And that's what I've done. But I'm saying, like, that's an example. Like, it doesn't matter what other people's do. You have to figure out your own truth for yourself. And I'm telling you that organized religion is not your truth. It's a truth, but it may not be your truth. And the only way that you'll know is when you do the work. When you really dig down deep inside and ask yourself, if I'm in an organized religion, does it practice virtues of righteousness throughout the entire organization? Like, I'll give you an example. I was born and raised Seventh-day Adventist. My mom, Seventh-day Adventist. My father was a pastor in Seventh-day Adventist church. And that's what I was raised by, right? Going to church every Sabbath, knowing the rules, knowing the Bible, reading it in and out. Got it. Then I had a question. I'm like, so in SDA, we have different conferences. We have the Northeastern and the Southern conferences, right? And I asked a simple question. I'm like, how come I never see a pastor in the Northeast Conference that looks like a white person? In every church that I've ever been to in the Northeast region, which is New York, Connecticut, Ontario, you name it, I have rarely seen a Caucasian pastor come up to our church and preach a sermon. Why is that? And why is it that I don't see any of our pastors who are in the Northeast Conference preaching in the Southwestern Conference within Texas, Dallas, West Coast, South? I don't see any of my pastors that preached in Toronto, Black pastors preaching in the white churches in the Seventh-day Adventist church. Never seen it. Why is that the case? Why is it that the past presidents of the Seventh-day Adventist Conference have only been white men? If this is about, the truth, I'm going to say that I know that there are qualified Black, Latino, Asian Christians that are Seventh-day Adventists that could be a conference president. Why have they never been elected to one? Let's look it up. Because you think I'm talking nonsense. I'm just going to speak the truth today because that's what today's about. Today is about revolutions, right? I'll start with my own. So let's go into it. And for those who don't know about the SDA Church, that's, you're going to get a nice rude awakening to that right now. So SDA Church conference presidents. I'm not going to fully put it in. It's going to pull it up. Okay. So Ted N. Wilson is our current general conference, SDA Seventh-day Adventist Church. Okay. I'm going to pull up the list of presidents of the SDA Church on Wikipedia. I don't like using Wikipedia as a reference, but we'll use it for now. Why not? So let me look this up, y'all. So if you guys are on our YouTube, all of these people, going back for 20 iterations, there have been 20 of them. Every single one of them looks like one of the guys that was written on the coat of arms or the okay. So I can show you. I'm going to show you. I want to show you these guys. Google past presidents of the Seventh-day Adventist Conference. Okay, starts off with John Byington in March of 1863, white man. James Springer White, white man. John Nevins Andrews, white man, 1867. I'm going to move up into the 1900s when, people actually cared about, blacks not being slaves and all that. Okay. So 1913, George Irving, white man. Arthur Grosvenor Daniels, white man. William Ambrose Spicer, white man. Charles H. Watson, white man. James Lamar McAnthony, white man. William Henry Branson, white man. Reuben Richard Ferg, white man. Robert Pearson, white man. Neil Wilson, white man. This is in 1979. Robert S. Falkenberg, white man. Jan Paulson, 1999, white man. Ted N. Wilson, current president, white man. How am I supposed to believe that this denomination is actually something that is from my ancestry? I don't believe that my grandparents from Nigeria were in partnership with Ted Wilson and Jen Paulson. I don't think they knew who those guys were I don't think they actually were in cahoots with these guys. I don't think they believed what they believed. But yet I was raised in that religion. And I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that he died on the cross. I believe that, God and the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. I believe in some of these things, not all of them, but some of them. But I question things. And I want you to start questioning things too. I want you to question why the Holy Trinity is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I want you to ask yourself a very simple question. When I was 9 years old, I asked this question. How did the Son come around without the mother? We have the Father, I see that. We have the Son, which was born from what? I don't know if the Son was born from a plant, but the Son's here. And the Holy Ghost did it? Where's the mother? Where is the feminine energy? Where is the creator? Because last time I checked, Mother Earth, that's a woman. Yeah, they are the ones that literally bring life from the spiritual plane into the physical plane. Only women can do that. And any mothers that are on this live know that I'm speaking the truth. You are a mother. You are literally bringing in spirits into physical flesh. That is one of the most sacred arts and acts on this planet. Why aren't you represented in a Bible, in a Holy Trinity? I would see if it was Father, Mother, and Son. I could see that being a Holy Trinity because that makes sense to me. I could see even Mother, Son, and Holy Ghost. I can see that too because guess what? God's impregnated women before. I've seen that. Like Zeus impregnates people all the time, apparently, like in Roman culture. So, in Greek culture, sorry. So, gods can impregnate women. That's the thing, right? Okay. Last time I checked, angels can impregnate women because in the Bible, in one of the earlier manuscripts, they talked about angels mating with women of Earth, human women, and them creating giants, right? So angels can impregnate women, gods can impregnate women. Okay, I can see Mother, Son, and Holy Ghost. I can see that too. But what I can't see is a Father, a Son, and a ghost. I don't understand how that makes sense. And I questioned that at 9 years old, right? I want you to start questioning things that don't make sense. And not because they couldn't make sense, but history, your truth. Why would you not see the essence of a woman as a man, as being something that is just as sacred and as important as you? Like, there is such a patriarchal, spin on the Bible. If you've ever read the book and you've ever seen the way that it was written, you will know that women don't have a role in the Bible at all. None. Like in the Bible, there are verses that say that women shouldn't even speak when men are speaking. And to me, any God that believes that women shouldn't have a say when a man is talking, that is not a God that I'm going to appreciate or follow, because that God does not serve my beliefs and my truth. My truth is that women are just as sacred as we are. As a matter of fact, they actually do more when it comes to creation and life than we do. They need our seed, don't get me wrong, but everything after that is all them. That's like saying that the earth can be beautiful without trees and plants. You wouldn't even be able to live without the oxygen that trees and plants create. That is the nature of feminine energy. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if you know this, but masculine and feminine are two parts of a whole. And you cannot have one without the other. They do not exist individually. They don't exist by themselves. So if you're taught in this society that there's no place for women at the table, that's probably the wrong social structure. Because where my ancestors came from, that wasn't what they believed. They had virtue. So I'm looking at religion and organized religion and asking myself, it was written in a time where there was a lot of male and male and male, but do I still believe that as my truth? The answer for me is no, I don't. And in the book Black Root Science, it talks about the fact that men and women are halves of a whole. And you cannot be your full maleness without the feminine side of it. It's like looking for a circuit and having the socket and the prong, right? You need both because you can't have a current without putting the power in the socket. Like you have to put it in, right? That is what men and women are. We are not the same, but we complement each other. That's how books describes us. And it actually goes into talking about soulmates. The fact that there is a person on this planet that was literally designed for you, period. And the two of you, when you see each other, you'll know. Because the energy that your combination will bring will be so cosmic that you will not have any sort of doubt that that's the person that you were supposed to be with. It's rare that it happens now because, again, for it to happen back in our history, the entire community needed to work to find your soulmate. It wasn't just a you thing. Oh, I'm just going to run into and find my soulmate myself. No, it was an entire community that did it, right? But neither here nor there. So let's get back to the subject. So questioning organized religion, questioning whether or not this represents you. And to me, looking at just organized religion that I was grown in, I knew that that wasn't for me because it does not even show in its history that it appreciates my ethnicity. So now let's move. So messiahs, we're talking about Jesus, right? We're talking about Jesus. So let me get back to Jesus. So the Messiah is defined, and this is Black History Month, y'all, so we're going to talk about what these words mean. So what is a Messiah? A Messiah is defined as the promised deliverer of the Jewish nation prophesied in the Hebrew Bible. That's the definition of Messiah. However, there's another definition that I like even better. The definition is anointed. The Messiah is defined as the anointed. What does that mean to you? The anointed means, to me, someone who was given a gift, a cosmic gift that was designed to help our people. And our people as in anyone who is in line with the Messiah, right? So the latest Messiah that we have access to is Yeshua, Jesus, right? And he was the Messiah of the Christians. And they talk about Jesus and his time. And here's, again, why I want you to start questioning what you've learned so far about Jesus, right? So in order for you to be a, what do the Jewish folks call a pastor? I forget the name of what the Jews call the pastor, but in order for you to be that person, meaning a spiritual leader, you would need to be not only married, but also in the process of having children. Like you cannot be a rabbi without having that you have to be a part of family. You can't just be a single guy that's not a rabbi. I've never seen it. And if anyone is Jewish on this call, you can maybe correct me, because if I need to be corrected, please do so. But if I'm on the right track, then let's run with it, okay? So in order for you to be a rabbi, you have to be married. Last time I checked in the Christian Bible, Jesus wasn't married. Last time I checked, Jesus didn't have a family either. Last time I checked, Jesus wasn't married, wasn't a family, but was called rabbi by folks because he was teaching and literally preaching to the masses all across, that where he lived in Jerusalem and in that entire area. Okay. When they look at the life of Jesus, you know that Jesus disappears, right? From the biblical text, like literally from the age of maybe 13 till about 30 something years old. We have no recollection of Jesus. We have literally him leaving the temple with his parents, and mystery, he shows back up and he gets baptized by John the Baptist. And then from there, he starts preaching to the masses. Okay. There's a reason why there's missing documents regarding Jesus. And the book talks about it, talks about what that is. But I won't even go into that besides telling you need to read that. But a Messiah is literally the anointed, right? Before Jesus, though, there were other Messiahs that came to this earth to deliver the same message that Jesus gave. Being anointed isn't something that is a timestamp. It's something that just exists to remind us of who we are. That's what anointing is. It's an understanding of your entire truth. Jesus was a Mahdi. He was an unlocked, literally open 12-strand, person, Black person that came back to remind us of who we were. That was who Jesus was. Now, the depictions of Jesus, similar to the depictions I showed you of John from the book of Revelation, have all been Grecianized. They've all looked like, an ancient Roman with, straight hair and little woolly fur and blue eyes. That's the way that they want Jesus to look, because they're the ones that wrote the history. They're the ones that were able to depict him in artwork. The picture of Jesus is actually the picture of an actual person, not Jesus, an actual person that they decided to imagery use as Jesus's image. And that image has been plastered across the world in more places than ever. The image of what Jesus looked like. Not his real image, but the other image of what they painted him to be, what he was painted to be by, I forget the famous painter, it was Michelangelo da Vinci, one of them, that painted Jesus. So again, whoever controls society controls the history and controls the access to the history. I want you to question that. But let's go back to Jesus, right? Jesus was the type of person that would give you the shirt off of his back. He was the kind of man that was literally righteous through and through. He did not sin. He did not, cause strife. He wanted to teach people the truth about his Father, and he would not take any of that on himself. In the Bible, Jesus talks about, don't give me any credit. The credit should go to my Father because I came to represent him. Don't pray to me, pray to him. I pray, our Father which art in heaven, like I'm praying that, right? That's what Jesus is saying. He always directs everyone to God. But in the society that we live in today, people are praying to Jesus. They pray to Jesus right now. Dear Jesus, this, that. And I've always had a problem with that. I'm like, why do I have a problem with praying to Jesus? Like, why am I not praying to Moses? Why am I not praying to Zoroaster? Why am I not praying to any of these other Mahdi's that have come and just praying to them, right? It never made sense to me because I'm like, if Jesus prayed to God, why wouldn't I pray to God too? This is the type of thing that I want you to question. Question your rituals. Question the things that you do if it doesn't add up. If the man that I'm praying to told us when he was on this planet to not pray to him, but to give all praises to his Father who sent him, that was his entire message. Why are we now deifying him, putting him on our chains, on a cross? Why are we using symbols that we don't even understand? So for example, the symbol on my neck right now, I don't know if you can see this, but this is an Ankh, right? It's a symbol for life. It's a two-pronged symbol. There is, and I'll use my hand so you can see it because I'm lighter on the hands, right? It's a two-pronged symbol. The symbol is a circle with two sides and a long side, okay? They all represent something, okay? This represents the woman's womb. This represents the man genitalia. And again, these are every part of this has a meaning. I'm not even going to spoil it for you. I want you to look it up. Look up the word Ankh and what it means. This symbol was changed into the modern day cross. And guess who did that? Folks in power. Why did they change it? What was the symbol? It used to be, again, the womb, the phallus, creation, life, symbol of life. That's what this used to be. What's the new symbol mean now? What does that mean? What does that symbol mean? Have you ever asked yourself that question? And this is why, again, the revolution starts with the revelation. You have got to start thinking. You have got to start remembering what you are and who you are. And if you can do that, you're going to be halfway there because this battle is already won, but only for those who know that they're fighting one. There was a story today about a kid in New Jersey who was approached by, I don't know, I just saw the video that I posted, and he got into a fight, an altercation with a white kid. And the black kid and white got into an altercation. They were fighting. The white kid had him on him, pounded him out. And then a couple of cops show up, and they immediately put the white child on the couch, and they sit him down. Are you okay? Are you okay, Billy? Okay, cool. And then they literally handcuff and put a knee on this other kid's neck and handcuff him, right? They were both fighting equally. They were both in a scrap. And the black kid was actually being dominated, actually, because he was on the bottom trying to fight his way up. He was actually the one being pummeled. But yet he was the one that got manhandled and arrested, right? I'm going to ask you a simple question. And that video pisses me off, but it doesn't make me upset at the fact that this isn't expected. That's not the part that makes me mad. What makes me mad is if you look at the video that I posted, look at who's around this young king. Look at his surroundings. Who is representing him? Did you see who was around him? Did you see his brother? Did you see his cousin or his uncle? Did you see his mom? Did you see his sister? Did you see anybody that looked like him? That young brother was in that group by himself with no representation, no support, no backup, no nothing. And when shit hit the fan, he was getting pummeled. No one came to his aid. And everyone around him did not look black. They were either white looking or some other ethnicity, but they weren't black. Here's my question for y'all. If another brother was there, in that circle with that kid, do you think that would have happened? If I was there, if I was a bystander in that same mall when that went down, let me tell you something right now. The cops would be arresting multiple people, including me, because I'm not standing for that, right? You don't get to pummel my young king just because you're putting his hand in his face. No. I'm gonna whoop your ass. That's what I'm gonna do. Like, you're not even getting far. You know why you're not getting far? Because I'm gonna put hands on you. Like, don't put hands on me or anyone that looks like me if I'm around. There has to be a level of, are you your brother's keeper, that we're rocking with? Because until that is how we move, they got us. And they is anybody that's not aligned with me. That's it. They got us if we're not rocking for us. And I blame nobody but the circumstance of that brother was alone. That's what I blame. That's what pisses me off. That's what upsets me. We are built on a tribe system. We don't get messed with. In our ancient times, we would wear different traditional garb, right? And if we walked into any village, just based on how we were dressed, folks would know where we were from. They would know whose kid you are. They would know which truths you believed. And they would not rock or mess with you because they knew that if a feather was broken on your outfit and you went back to your village with that broken feather, your entire clan is coming to see what happened. You tell me how powerful that is. When just because of the way that I'm dressed, you know that you can't even mess with me. Because if you did, you're going to be in war with someone else. That is the way that I want y'all to start thinking now. Because I'm sick and tired of anything else that's not like that. If you don't take ownership of your brother and your sister when it comes to moments like that, then you're not my brother and you're not my sister. Because I should have the same amount of divine love for you and your kids as you have for me and my kids. If that was my son in that altercation, the first question I'm asking is, yo, where were your boys? Where were your friends at? Where were they at? I want to know where your friends were. Where was Bobo? Where was Junior? Where was your cousin? Like why were you there? Why were you in that situation in the first place? Where were your people? Do not leave without your people. Do not go anywhere without your people. Period. And if you're in those circles, ask yourself, why am I there? This circle doesn't look like me, and people are acting up in this circle, calling me the N-word. And I don't know if you heard the N-word drops. They were in there too. Listen to the video. Listen to the video. It's in there. We failed him. We failed him. And we will fail every other black brother that gets arrested wrongly, every black sister that gets shot in her bedroom, every woman that is abducted of melanated descent. Like, you guys don't understand that there is a freaking war going on where they're literally taking black bodies, creating products with us, with our missing people. Do you get that? And this is not even allegedly. I'm not even going to go and say allegedly. I'm going to say that's what's happening. Let them tell me that it's a lie. Let them tell me that I'm not telling the truth. A revolution starts with a revelation. Think. Melanin is a commodity that is worth hundreds of dollars a gram. One black body can be worth around 5 million in just melanin harvesting by itself. Any black body, right? Melanin cannot be reproduced. Cannot be reproduced. It has been known to be used in electronic equipment to help move electric currents back and forth. It's been used to actually help create technology that has things like plasma TVs, and even melatonin. Where'd that come from, right? All of that is produced by melanin. Used in computer tech, yes it is. Where are they getting the parts from? Where are you getting the parts to produce melanin from? Because you can't reproduce it. So where are you getting it from? Does it make sense when you see that the missing persons of melanated folks is higher than any other ethnicity on the planet? And that our kids are getting kidnapped left and right, and they're finding organ harvesting bodies? Literally, there was a kid in a gym that got his organs harvested. He was missing. They found him, stitched up, all of his organs were out of his body. Melanated kid. Another doctor that was drowned in a lake, again, harvested. His jaw was removed. Melanin. You guys got to understand that this isn't a game. And I'm not talking about this because it doesn't affect me. No, I have a daughter. Like, if anyone ever kidnapped my daughter, trust me, I would turn into that guy from Taken, and I would find somebody. I would find somebody. Trust and believe. I wouldn't stop until I found somebody. And that's the kind of tenacity that we have to have when it comes to protecting our kids and any of our blood. Like, we just have to understand this is, again, this is something that is real, that is happening. You can watch all the social media you want, all the TV that you want, but if you're not seeing the real war, then you're missing out. And I'll tell you this, there's something that's called no sympathy that the book speaks about. It is literally the final step before the end of times comes, where we actually come back to power. What does no sympathy mean? No one's ever talked about no sympathy on Instagram before that I've heard. I'm going to talk about it for the first time. No sympathy. I'm going to not tell you exactly what it means, but I'm going to tell you the concept of it. I talked about it last week. I'll say it again. No sympathy is when you love you so much that folks that don't love you, you don't even see them. They don't even exist to you. No sympathy means that I'm not going to participate in your system that is not designed to protect myself, my wife, my child, or anyone that looks like me. I'm not going to protect your system. I'm going to create a new one that actually is honorable and just and righteous. And I'm going to help you fix and clean up your shit, your mess, after I finish making mine, after I finish creating my communities, creating our infrastructure, creating a life that is real and righteous and embodies all of the characteristics and principles that we've had in our history and in our past. You know, a gentleman who I'm going to give you again, and this is going to be his story, it's going to be everything right now. We got 10 minutes power time. Check this out. Go over to my YouTube channel. You're going to see something. We're about to go over here. So YouTube, check this out. There's a gentleman I want to talk to you guys about real quick, and we're going to wrap all of this up real fast. Let's see if I can pull him up. Okay, where is my window? Oh, I'm already here. Okay. I didn't want to share this window. All right, so we're sharing this, we're sharing. All right, let me pull up this gentleman here. Zoroaster. Probably never heard of this gentleman, but let me tell you a little bit about this guy. So the time frame for Zoroaster, and there was a religion called Zoroastrianism that was created based on this Mahdi. This was another gentleman who was gifted just like Jesus. And he existed in antiquity. So like I said, who did you worship before 1100 AD, right? The time frame for Zoroaster in his time when he actually taught on this planet was anywhere between 10,000 years and 1,000 years before Jesus, anywhere in that range. There is a lot of mystery between how far back he goes, but Zoroaster was in Persia. And here are some of the things that he talked about back then. And this is all written in Sanskrit, just so you know. One of the things that he taught was good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. That was a part of his religion, his teachings, that you need to think righteously, you need to use righteous words, and your actions should also be righteous. He talked about the cosmic struggle between Asa, the truth, and Druj, the lie. He talked about the better versus the bad, which is God versus the devil. He asked questions like this: who established the course of the sun and the stars? Who feeds the waters and the plants? What builder created light and darkness? Through whom does exist dawn, noon, and light? This has been found in the Yasna 44, 4-6. These are ancient individuals. These folks. The Zoroastrianism is literally an entire religion that was based off of the teachings of this man. This man was also melanated. They don't teach you that. But you know who teaches you that? Historical references. Folks who were taught their history. Folks who knew their history from Egypt and moved and literally migrated to keep that history intact for you and me to be able to read one day. That day is here. Okay, here's another one. And this is, again, you can look up these individuals and see what they did. These are real people. One more for you. Quetzalcoatl, okay? 1200 to 400 BC was turned into a religion in the Mesoamerica region in 900 AD. Who is he? Another melanated individual who was, again, turned into a religion. These individuals existed, and there are facts about them in their ancient times. But you would never know that because, again, the folks who write the history of these individuals, they don't want you to know that your history is bigger than Black History Month. They don't want you to know that your history was actually world history, ancient history. That's your history, okay? One more. Lord Rama. You heard of him? You heard of Lord Rama before, right? Lord Rama seen as an archetype for righteousness. His wife Sita are the picture of purity by many Hindus and is based on a historical figure, an actual person that existed named Rama. These are examples of messiahs that have come to this planet in ancient times and were worshipped as such, seen as anointed individuals who had gifts, who were the virtues of righteousness, who all taught the very similar speech of righteousness, wholesomeness, looking at the earth, looking at the planet, looking at everything as one, becoming aligned with all things, loving, not evil. You got to see that I am more aligned with the teachings of Rama, the teachings of Quetzalcoatl, the teachings of Zoroaster, and the teachings of Yeshua than I am with the teachings of the guy from SDA Church right now. Why? Because there's something about history and the truth that when those things come together, it makes the lie seem so obvious. So obvious. We've got to do better, y'all. And I'm not going to let anybody teach me my truth unless they know me and they know my historical reference before I knew me, right? Challenge yourselves today to make the revolution real. The revelation's got to be real. It's got to be real. So the first step I would say, y'all, is number one, get you a copy for your Bible, AKA, this is the Black Historical Bible, I would call it. That's what I call this. Black Root Science isn't a religion. Let's start with that. It is a historical book written by ancient priests called griots who literally have put into book form the history of our people from ancient Egypt on, and what was taught back then to all the Greek philosophers is actually taught in this book. We taught them. They didn't teach us. We civilized them. They didn't civilize us. We've been here for trillions of years. We created this galaxy. Teaches you that. I put up on my sign 1,000,000,008,000,000, and that is a very important number, along with several other numbers, but that one is critically important. The next time I do a live about this subject, I'm going to tell you what 1,000,008,000,000 is. But in the meantime, just understand, we have to change what we're doing, y'all. We've got to change how we view everything. All of the things that we've been doing so far, it's got to shift. We've got to get back to the basics. We've got to get back to our truth. We've got to get back to understanding that not everything that you see is for you, and you shouldn't be a part of everything. As a matter of fact, this is going to be the year of change for a lot of people. So you better get used to seeing a lot of messed up things happen, because this year is going to be full of it. But what it's going to also do is give you an opportunity to see that you need to be an army of many, not just one, an army of many. You have a tribe that is looking out for you and that you're looking out for. We only get through this together. And we have to have no sympathy for anyone else that is not in alignment with what our mission is as a people. And there are a lot of folks who are not aligned with what we're trying to do and who we're trying to be and who we are, actually. A lot of people are not aligned with that. Let's get them aligned by starting with yourself. Change how you think, change how you move, question everything, and don't let people tell you who you are. You tell them who you are. No one can tell you who you are unless they look like you, unless they have your genetics. Unless they are you, they cannot tell you who you are. You are a god or a goddess. You get to create your universe and your reality in every decision that you make. Like these great messiahs have said, good thoughts, good words, good deeds. You need to live that mantra. And that was written 10,000 years ago. Live that mantra. Understand that you need to be the architect of righteousness. You need to be the person that is seen as the light and not the darkness. It starts with your thoughts, it starts with how you move, how you protect your family, how you protect the folks that look like you. All of it has to happen. It has to happen now. So folks, Wealth Wednesday, this was a history class, history lesson for y'all. But I hope that you guys took away what a revolution takes. Do not let someone who controls your history tell you that that's all that there is to it. You go find resources that are going to get you opened to what really does matter, and you make sure that that is what you start studying. Study for yourself what your truth is. Do not let anyone tell you what that is. and question things that do not make sense. The Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, to me, doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. If there's no feminine energy there, that's not for me. Look up what an ankh symbolizes, look up what a cross symbolizes, and ask yourself, do you see where they switched that symbol? This has happened throughout time. Since the beginning of this age of forgetfulness, folks have been switching the truth for a lie. And it's time that you wake up and see that. I'm not even telling you something that's new to you. I am just here to remind you to wake up and understand that you know what is happening. You asked for this. You know what's happening. Now wake up to that knowledge, wake up to that wisdom, and realize that this is where we are. It's time to shift to the next move, which is no sympathy, which is shifting how you think and how you move, which is getting right up here and in here. Get your spirit cleaned. Get to the person that you've always been. Speak to your inner self, to your first self. Get in connect with your ancestors. We never did this alone. They've always been guiding us and watching us from afar. Connect with them. Build an altar. Know that you need to continue to connect with the folks who created the DNA that sequence that's inside of you. You are a combination of 250 individuals who had to come together literally over 5 generations to create you. And we're talking grandparents going back into antiquity. Like, remember, you have 2 parents, both of them have 2 parents, that's 4. All of them have 2 parents, which is, again, 8. Keep adding it up. Go back 10 generations, see how many people have actually come together to create your DNA. You have every part of them in you. Every wisdom, every wise choice, every heartache, every success is stored inside of you like a computer. You can tap into it, but if you don't know that it's there, how are you going to know to tap into it? Right? 1 billion, 8 million. You're special. 1 billion, 8 million. The world was created by you. 1 billion, 8 million. Remember who you are. I just need 144,000 of you to remember. That's it. Let's get to it. Folks, Instagram, let's see if you keep this up. Peace on Instagram. YouTube, let's see if Instagram keeps that up. Last time I had something to post, you know what they did with it? They canceled it. So we'll see how they're playing. But y'all, thanks for joining me. I hope you guys got some good stuff. Make sure you get a copy of Black Root Science. Start reading. Understand your history from folks who actually knew it. And let's question everything. Peace and love. Always, family. Love you guys.